your folks' time, but you are showing up here today for yourself, and that is amazing. And I'm so happy that you are here with myself and with Frances, and I'm going to do a beautiful introduction of her now in a second. But if you are just entering and you didn't hear my first kind of spiel, please just write in the comments down below or on the side, wherever your comments show up on your screen, what your name is, where you're tuning in from, and maybe your favorite exercise.
Yeah, let's go with that. We'll do the exercise one.
Yeah, let's see if we can beat the thrusters and the burpees. Let's see what else we got. See how creative it is. So I am very, very pleased to be joining all of you fantastic people on here tonight. This is a live webinar recording, and I'm going to be sending out a replay in case you need to leave early or in case you want to send it to any of your friends and family. That would be amazing. We love the publicity and the outreach. We're a pretty new company. So my name is Erin, and of course, I'm the host of the Inspiring Insights webinar series. And we're actually changing the name of our business. We actually formerly were called Queen Wellness with KDWEEN. We realized that was kind of appropriative. And so we are changing that so that we can better serve our clients. And what we do is we're kind of forming an alternative wellness provider network so that women who are going through the system of alternative wellness, whether that be trying to find a new massage therapist or an astrologer or an energy medicine practitioner or a naturopathic doctor or a personal trainer like Frances, they come to us and they kind of tell us their story and what they've been through, and we will kind of guide them in the right direction and also provide feedback to the providers that are working through our network. So that's where kind of we all came about. We also are hosting this amazing Inspiring Insights vodcast, I would call it, videocast. Vodcast is weird. I don't know. People still haven't really caught on to that one yet. So I like to just call it a videocast, webinar series, what have you. And what my goal is here is to really get people inspired to live more consciously, for one. And that includes a lot of different things. Myself, I've been a mindfulness teacher. I've been a personal trainer. I'm educated in naturopathic medicine. And there's a lot of modalities out there that really help people heal. And it doesn't always have to be that kind of standard one-way Western model that we're so used to. So we're just trying to shine a light on the people that are doing amazing work. And of course, as women, and maybe some of you are guys, that's okay too. You're all welcome. We want you to really run as authentically as you do efficiently. And I know that every single one of you are very efficient with your time, and I get that. So yeah, let's live more consciously and let's live more authentically. So please drop a wave. Like I said, write your name in the comments, where you're from, what your favorite exercise is. And if you're tuning into this replay, know that we still feel you here. I know that you maybe couldn't make it here tonight, so I appreciate that you signed up anyway and that you're doing this good thing for yourself. So, hello, Frances. Welcome.
Hello.
So we have Frances Young here tonight. She really likes point form, so I'm just going to get right down to it with her bio. She sent me in point form, everything that she loves. Very efficient, if I may. So she loves the deadlift. That's probably one of her favorite exercises until the end of time, which I can agree with. I can get down with that. A great fact about Frances is that she grew up with over 30 husky dogs in her backyard. That is something amazing, let me tell you. And a personal mantra that she really strives to live by, and I love that, is that you are strong, you are enough, and you are living fearlessly. And we're going to get into a lot more of that in this episode, because it's all about fear and how to face your fear and to live more authentically through movement. So Frances, I understand that you have a background in contemporary dance, and you are the owner of Stay Gold Gym, which is here in Toronto on the west side. Love that. Tell us maybe a little bit more about your education or your credentials, whatever you want to shine light on with that, and really how it came to be, how you got where you are today.
How am I in this place doing the things that I do? Such a great tale. Well, so as you mentioned, I am trained as a contemporary dancer. And so I have been moving my whole life. I got into dance at the age of 7. And subsequently, I ended up getting a Bachelor of Arts in Dance. I went to the University of Winnipeg and the School of Contemporary Dancers, where essentially you got to dance all day, and then you went to school at night and you got a degree.
Nice.
But with regards to like the fact that it is a degree in dance. So I legitimately spent the most of my time in the studio. And then if I were to take courses at university, like at the actual university itself, you had to take your subsequent for what you need for a BA, your English, everything. But I tried to also then tailor a lot of my classes around kinesiology, about the body, things that I was super interested in with regard to wellness and self-betterment. And then coming to Toronto after graduation, I'm actually from Ontario. So moving out to Winnipeg was just for school, then coming back. I was going to be doing some dancing. However, within the arts world, there is not usually enough funding. And at the point where I was about to become a part of a show, we lost funding. So then subsequently I had to find a job. And I know, right? Yeah, we could talk about that on another podcast.
Yeah.
And throughout my university years, I did start going to the gym. So I got taken to the gym by a couple boyfriends and was like, okay, what's this gym thing? I hadn't really done that because I'd just been in a studio my whole life. And I was challenged one day to do a pull-up. I couldn't do a pull-up. And I was like, but I'm strong. So why can't I do a pull-up? So long story short, I got into CrossFit. A lot of people know what CrossFit is, or the functional fitness training world. And then that's how I got onto being a trainer. And that when I graduated university, I got my CrossFit level 1. It was the first, I guess, functional training or type of certification that I had in order to coach. So that when I moved to Toronto, I was working on a personal trainer certificate study at home, so many of them. And I could legally work as a trainer right away. So graduated university 2014, started working as a trainer in 2015. And I mean, we all learn by a lot of trial and error and just spending time teaching class and teaching clients. So using my dance knowledge and movement and then CrossFit knowledge and movement and then trainer certificate, just started to meld my own way of working as a trainer. I worked at a private studio for almost a year and then moved into the West End. And I started working at a CrossFit gym, the Academy of Lions. If Bryn's from the Academy of Lions, or at least she had gone there. And then I also started working at a chiropractic clinic, and the Ossington, and it's actually Academy of Lions and Ossington Chiropractic is where first clinic I used to work at. They're across the street. So we did a lot of co-work together.
Nice.
And then I also started taking some clients privately in a little studio that a trainer and wonderful woman, her name is Karen Appold, let me rent space from her. So then I was kind of melding classes and clinical work and my own thing. And then as people grow, they need to create their own spaces. And then I became a part of Stay Gold. So it's kind of the meld of learning, figuring out what I like to do, the clients I had, and then Stay Gold became.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And you're also a fascial stretch therapist, right? Oh, I don't know if you.
Pardon, I missed that. My internet is horrible. I'm so
no
sorry.
worries. So you're a fascial stretch therapist. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that for folks who maybe don't know what that is?
Yeah. So for being a trainer, trainers basically have to, there's this pressure for trainers to know it all. We have to know about nutrition. We have to know about every modality in order to suit a wide range of particular clients that we may come in contact with. We need to know how to stretch them. We need to, because they'll ask us anything. We're also their therapists. So along my journey of being able to offer more and what I am interested in, I came across fascial stretch therapy, or in short, FST. It's a form of manual therapy that a lot of people try to equate with massage, but it is actually quite different. FST, very simply, you create space within joints. So say in the morning, like we feel really stiff in our shoulders or things like that, and we try to move them around. Like this is actually creating space in your joint. And what I do as a stretch therapist is I make that space and then I elongate the muscles that are associated with that joint. And so it is a very relaxative form of therapy. Sometimes massage therapists, they kind of feel like they beat us, but sometimes that's nice. Depends on what you're looking for. But FST is very relaxing. It does promote a lot of breath as well. So it puts people into a parasympathetic state, which essentially relaxes them. It is really great for anxiety, for injuries, for all kinds of things. It definitely feels like an alternative form of manual therapy because it's not as well known, even though it's actually been a certified type of manual therapy for almost 20 years. So.
Wow, thank you for that. This is very elaborate. Yeah. And I didn't really know myself what fascial stretch therapy or how to really explain it. So that was great. Thank you for that. That's okay. and your amazing career so far, so good as you continue to learn and to grow. Frances, I was interested. I have a question. So I saw on your website that, you and your Instagram, amazing, by the way, that you feel that fear is an imperative emotion to survival. Can you speak to that? I think there's a lot in there that we could unpack.
There's so much. It's a topic I love talking about in a way that's like, because you can go so far. So fear, we all know, is imperative for the fact that fear has kept any living animal alive. Basically, we have to be able to react to our surroundings in order to physically survive and not die and not be killed by whatever is around us, whether it's an animal that's going to eat us, right? Or there's a tidal wave coming, we have to run from it. So we need fear to keep us alive. And that's how we're here today. So it's imperative. However,
and that's good for you to note, because fear actually, it's useful, it's helpful. And just because we fear a lot and it causes a lot of anxiety, particularly probably today on election day or around results day, there's so much to that, that we can talk about in terms of even just, trying to work it out of our systems and how it kind of lingers in our muscles and our bodies. I'm sure you can, sorry for interrupting. Keep going.
It was great. It was excellent. Like we do. And recently, even for how I think about it myself, and being very particular of my language, fear is neither good nor bad as well. It's necessary, and it should not be looked at as a bad thing either. So it's fear just is. That's a loaded little statement right there. But to kind of draw it into the things that I think about and what I talk about as myself, where my career is going, and for people that are listening in, they might know about my lifestyle brand entitled The Fearless Project, is that learning to embrace your fears, both the ones that keep you alive and both the ones that maybe you're trying to sort through or that you're trying to become at peace with, I'll use that language, is how we're going to live a more, as to your words, authentic life. And basically, I guess, at most in tune with our bodies and what our energies say that we want to do. I'm trying very hard to not say the words like happy or to avoid certain emotions that maybe we don't want to feel, because our bodies are here to experience, and all the breadth of emotions are super important. but we all know we want to be happy, live in abundance, and not live in fear. But we're going to experience them all anyways. It's just how do we regulate them?
I love that. There is something to, the emotions, literally the emotional thoughts maybe, or processes that go on. And there's a whole different story between that. And I say that lightly because, they're definitely intertwined, but there's something different about experiencing fear in your body. And I think, for anyone that has ever gone through a traumatic experience, big T or little t, I think that there's a lot of emotion and fear that actually stays rooted in our body. And I don't know, like, is there anything that ever comes up for you and just like the fascial stretch work that you do that people kind of have like emotional releases when they do that?
100%. When we're taught in the course, and I personally have not had it happen, and I feel like it's not a breach of any of my contracts, private confidentiality, is that sometimes patients will experience extreme laughter. Sometimes they'll start to cry. Sometimes they will, I don't know. I've had multiple clients fall asleep, which is great. Like that, I take that as an utmost compliment. But there are stored energies and emotions in the body. And if our body is in a state that allows them to naturally come to the surface, that's actually a good thing. So in FST, I 100% experience that. And I, as a practitioner, hold space for that as well. Love that you asked that question.
Yeah. So, and when that fear comes up, when that is kind of, we're allowing it to surface, and when there's someone there holding space for that, what does it look like? And I guess what I'm trying to ask is, like, how can we really move past that?
The fear.
Yeah.
It's such a loaded question. Giving it the acknowledgement in the moment. So say, to like be very literal, say if it were to happen in a fascial stretch session, if someone were to have any experience, laughter, sadness, myself personally in an actual session, as I was being treated once, I was almost having a panic attack. It's that practitioner and person's place to what I do is I pause. I kind of let the person start to experience what they are experiencing, if it's some sort of release, and essentially say it's okay. Like I either, for kind of the moment and feelings going on, either like still have that actual human touch going on, which is very powerful, to touch them on the shoulder or wherever I happen to be treating them, to give them that personal comfort. And just, I've said in the past, like, it's okay. You're allowed to feel this. I ask, are you okay? But essentially I stop and let them experience what they are doing. Because a lot of the time when we're experiencing fear, we run, we hide. Because that is that's our primitive and primal reaction. But in certain cases, we have to experience what's going on. So we need to pause and have that moment in order to release so that we can move past.
I wonder if anybody in the audience right now has had a similar experience, whether they're with their massage therapist or a psychotherapist, even, have something come up and really feel that and be able to just sit with it and be with that. And, beyond, Francis, literally beyond you, I don't think I've ever met a personal trainer that has ever talked so much about emotion and how it's related to, the body and the movement that we do, which I think is so key and a big missing piece. It's something that a lot of, personal trainers and people in the, I guess that CrossFit kind of space, that gym setting, I don't even know if they purposely avoid it, but it doesn't come up in conversation really. But
I haven't had a lot of conversations with, I feel the people and trainers and kind of health practitioners in general that I happen to be in my network, we speak about it a lot. But the kind of overall scope of how I came into fitness and what we see on Instagram, what we see in the news, what we see as to be what it means to be fit and what I should or shouldn't do. There's always that media scope of picture perfect, and that feels like more of the vibe that is always pulled across. However, when we kind of like go a little deeper, maybe the reason why someone isn't losing weight is because their stress levels are too high and their fear of whatever is too high, whatever it is in their life, even though they work out 6 days a week and they're crushing it and they're eating right. Like I went through a period of time where I realized in 2019, now looking back, I had some photos done of just this random comparison. Sometimes on Google Photos, if people have Google Photos out there, in that it will make an animation or it will compare two photos for you and it'll make something. I had Google Photos do this for me in that it showed a picture in the same shirt. That's how it found it. February 2019, and it was like beginning of March 2020. And I could see clearly and knew what was happening in my life, February 2019 and March 2020. I was way happier and I was doing all the workouts. I was in a nutrition program in February 2019 with all my life stress. Nothing was happening. But in March 2020, my life stress was different. And my eating and working out was kind of somewhere in between. It wasn't as regimented, but I'd lost weight. I was just in this whole other state. There was this whole other glow. So the personal training and working out and being physical with ourselves has so much more than actually what we're doing movement wise.
Yes. And I think what you're speaking to is maybe a much larger, kind of broader sense of mindset shift that kind of we all go through. And maybe that's, a part of starting an exercise or, a movement regime gives us. And for a large part, maybe that's why a lot of people fall off the wagon as well, because the mindset hasn't shifted yet. Is there anything that you have in your repertoire that, that maybe the daily exercises that you do or movements that you do that really help you unravel some of those fears that you have? And is there anything that you want to share right now about that?
Yeah, of course. My biggest thing that has kind of for sure put me where I'm at right now, and my shift in journey as to what I'm experiencing and saying to others, is journaling. Was a big thing for me in 2018, actually. It is a form of gratitude practice that I have, and it's morphed. And when people say, okay, all you've got to do is work out 30 minutes a day or go walk 30 minutes a day. And it takes, I'm pretty sure from the different stats here and there, that it takes over 2 months. So 60 days or more in order to instill a new habit. So it's easy for our brains to fall off the wagon in multiple ways, but my habit of journaling has gone up and down as well. But the way that I first started was with something that's called the 5-minute journal. And my boyfriend bought me my first one in 2018. And it took me a while to kind of get through the first one, in that it does say that you're supposed to journal for 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening. And I used to find 5 minutes really hard to find. With my lifestyle at the time, it was horrible. And then it would go through ups and downs. By, say, summer of 2019, I was journaling for minimum an hour a day. But that was also where my lifestyle was at, where things were changing. So I mean, it's not linear, but any kind of prompt of how I feel is what I start with now. And also something that's actually very new and might sound, I mean, using the word woke, if people have heard that, but just what does my heart say? That's kind of my prompts. But if people have heard of the 5-minute journal and somewhere to start with journaling, and what does that mean? The 5-minute journal is a gratitude journal. So in the actual, there is the brand, the 5-minute journal. At the top of the page, there's a quote. And then below that, it says to write 3 things that you are grateful for. It literally can be anything. I am grateful for chocolate milk. I am grateful for a son. I am grateful for my house. Whatever. I mean, you can be as like super insightful as you want, or as like chocolate milk, you know, whatever. And then 3 things that you're going to do to make your day great. So I'm going to open the door for a stranger today, or I'm going to call my mom, or I'm going to only have 1 coffee today because you're addicted to coffee and you're like, I got to stop.
It's a love-hate.
I know it's a love-hate for me too. I absolutely adore it. That's another combo. And then at the end of the day, you write 3 things that were awesome that happened in your day, and they don't have to relate to the stuff up top. They could be, I found $20 on the road, or my client lifted a new weight today, something like that. And then there's also 2 other prompts that in this particular version, I have my own qualms with, but 2 things that you could do better or could have done better. I'm just trying to like relate right back because I don't follow these particular ones myself anymore. But the biggest pieces are 3 things you're grateful for and 3 things that were awesome that happened in your day. Those 6 things. The of just kind of appreciating what you've got and relishing that without any of the other things taking over, because they don't matter. And then kind of relating that into fear. The other like thoughts that come into our being in our mind can sometimes take away from those moments of what you're grateful for and what's actually awesome in the world.
Yeah, totally. I can't wait to edit this because I'm going to go back and press pause on that.
On those things?
Like, do the journaling.
Well, what I can do too is in the chat is I'll write those things too so that people can see that. But one thing that I'll say right away, because I mean, when you start a new routine or you're like, okay, this sounds awesome and I need to do it. And if I don't do it that exact way, I fail. No, it's like everybody has their own way of doing their said thing. But to journal about your thoughts and about what's going on in the world around you is a really great way to release what's inside your head.
Yes. And maybe what's
sometimes
inside
it makes
your body.
more sense on paper. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Cool. I appreciate that little tidbit. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Frances, I wanted to bring this up for a while, but, was using my listening skills because you have a lot of good things to say. But I would love to know your thoughts on, because you mentioned it, kind of maybe moving and speaking and doing from your heart, that concept of like acting intuitively, whatever feels good in your body and whatever your body wants to experience in that moment. And you've mentioned it a few times before in our previous conversations. And how can we do that in a way that, is still respectful of our bodies, respectful of, where we are at emotionally and maybe where the world is at or society is at, or, how our relationship is with Mother Nature. And there's a lot of things that interplay, right? A lot of intersectionality. So what does it mean to you to be, as the certified personal trainer that you are, to act and move intuitively?
What does it mean to act and move intuitively? It's such a great question. I love it. It means slowing down. It means being patient. Yeah, snaps for that. Because I am somebody who's not patient at all. And as I speak about it more, I actually am finding my own way to try and understand that better myself. So we can also relate this back to fear. And fear is usually a reactive in the moment decision, in the moment of whatever. And because it's meant for that survival skill, or for that I think I should do this, or right. X, Y, and Z. And to be in tune with the fact that when daylight savings changes in the fall, it does become darker in North America, for us that are in North America. Being in tune with that and how it affects our bodies, how it affects maybe our workout schedule, how it affects how we eat, and just kind of all encompassing. We need to slow down and we need to think first before we react. Am I going to eat this piece of food because I am anxious and emotionally pent up about the election? Or do I not need this extra piece of this? Or maybe it's Thanksgiving and I am going to indulge because I have all of these beautiful people here. They've all made this wonderful food and I am going to enjoy tonight, and that's fine too. I'm not acting out of a place of I'm afraid that everyone's going to take their leftovers home and I'm not going to have enough.
Right.
So in kind of my practice for myself, and then how I speak to others about their movement, is we kind of have to look at all aspects of why they're coming to me, what their state of their life is, but also not trying to pick it apart all at once, because maybe we slowly have to peel back the layers of that onion in order to also help that person feel comfortable with themselves in the moment with me, before we give them a sleeping regimen, how many workouts a week and all that jazz.
Yeah. And that's amazing.
I don't know if that answered the question.
No, I love that, because there's such a thing as, working out too much, exercising too much. And I think in this world, especially in Toronto, maybe the GTA, I'm a bit biased because I've been here a while, but there's a lot of people that, think that exercise is good on one hand, and then on the other hand are so stressed out at work that their cortisol levels are up so high that they're already in fight or flight mode. And, then
they're
they go to
mode.
Yeah, exactly. Mode. And so they go to the gym, and it's not a win-win scenario there, And so there has to be some sort of, like you said, some sort of patience that we put on ourselves, and maybe a responsibility to do that very mindfully, and to check in with our bodies and our minds and say, okay, is this idea of going to the gym or going to that class tonight good after this really busy day? And maybe it's a good thing, like you said yourself, to
and maybe it is, because sometimes too, and we play. Yeah. It's also just dependent on what that movement is. I had an interesting conversation with my boyfriend the other day, and he was like, maybe strength training puts too much tension in our bodies. I think that's a bad thing. Putting too much tension isn't great. Which too much of anything isn't great, right? Too much soda, not good. Too much spinach, you might be okay, but
oxalate.
There are certain things that was maybe too much the other direction. Yeah. We need the right balance of everything, even for myself. As a dancer, when I was, how old was I? 14. And when I was 18, I partially dislocated my right knee twice. But as soon as I started strength training, I haven't had knee issues since. So, even within certain modalities as we work out, we need to just move our bodies every day, breathe every day, and try to see what it's saying that day. Sometimes you should push because we need to, and it makes us feel great. But sometimes you also have to try to find what it means to be in tune to not do that too.
Yeah. And the importance of cross training as well, breath work is maybe just as nourishing for your body and stress reducing as a huge workout could be, on one of those days. So thank you for that. That actually answered my question, I think. We'll
Intuitively, how do we tune into ourselves? Slow down.
That could be one of the answers for sure, or maybe the first step. Francis, I know that you have something for all the listeners today, and I did want to get into a little bit more before we maybe go into question period. If anyone has any questions, by the way, just please write them in the comments now, and I can kind of mark them as a question for later when we answer. But tell us more about the Fearless Project. I'm super pumped that you're starting that. And I know that you have just started a online kind of course, workout course. So tell us more about that and how folks can get involved.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to drop it into the chat right now so that I don't forget, because otherwise I will.
Yes, I love that.
There. Okay. So the Fearless Project, that's a promo code. I'll get there in a moment, folks. The Fearless Project is basically kind of what we've been talking about the whole time, kind of tidbits in there. It's a lifestyle. It is the way that I live my life, and it is then how I want to, I'll use the word preach or just tell it to others to see if they want to join in. And you mentioned at the beginning of my mantra of I am strong, I am enough, and I live fearlessly. And that is kind of the mantra of the Fearless Project itself. A little tidbit, I think it's cool. Just from my life experience, it was not planned. I actually have all three of those mantras tattooed on my body. I didn't come up with the Fearless Project, come up with it and was like, I'm going to get them tattooed. No, it just happened. So I feel very close to those things. And our service offerings at the time being, one of which is personal training through the form of in-person and online. So what's going on at the moment for the Fearless Project is you are included as well, Aaron. You can preach it. Aaron is a part of Fearless Forever, which is the Fearless Project's first online interactive training program. There's weekly update emails. We do have a weekly Zoom class, and everyone's following along together. And they have me as their personal trainer in a little back pocket. It's 8 weeks. We just started this week. And for those that are in on the call, if you want to join in, there is a promo code that I've put in the chat. Use that promo code. It's 50% off. It's going to be $75. I think with tax, it's like $85 for 8 weeks of training. And you literally, I'll text you, did you do your workout today? I will. Wow. Aaron's got messages from me already. So that's what's going on. That's that promo code. If you want to use it, go for it.
Please. Yeah, I can attest to that. I'm one of those people that needs somebody literally underneath my butt with a lighter saying, go do it, go do it. And Francis, you have been that person. So I thank you. And I wholeheartedly, I've only got 2 workouts under my belt because this, like you said, was the first week, and it's already incredible. My glutes hurt, my back hurts, my triceps hurt, everything hurts, and I love it. It's good. If you want to feel like
sometimes
that,
is good. I will say that myself.
Yeah, it's a good feeling because I forgot that I had those muscles. So highly recommend. It's a good crew of people.
So one thing too is I will put into the chat, pause for effect. I will put the link to my website that as well, that they can use it. Yeah. So that's the link to the actual program within my site. And then I will also pop in one thing as well. Wanted to not forget is that I'm going to put in a link for anyone on the call. If you want to book a phone call with me, just to chat about life, fear, whatever, or you want to talk about training, we can talk about anything you want. You can also use the link I just put into the chat to book a phone call with me, 30 minutes. You can also go for a coffee because that's now a thing again. But also, I am open to chatting about anything. So that's there too. Fearless Project, besides personal training, and kind of moving into other tiers of things that I am super into as I grow and other things I want to offer. The I am enough piece. I am strong is about training, feeling strength in our bodies in every way. And the I am enough is the kind of mindfulness, self-awareness aspect of my lifestyle and the Fearless Project itself. As a service offering right now, for me, it's talking to me, learning about my experiences. That's kind of like intertwined within training. And also chatting about just kind of uncovering what's going on in your life. So I personally don't offer like a, we'll call it like life coaching skills, but I can talk to you as a friend and as a personal trainer. I kind of feel like I did say it earlier, I am people's therapists. But we just talk about our lives and talk about what's going on. But I do have people in my network that can even go deeper than that. So I am a resource for people to begin their self-awareness journey, because I'm on my own as well. And I have breathwork therapists, psychotherapists, nutritionists as well, let alone yourself, Erin, but as well other nutritionists that I've worked with that have kind of like opened up my self-awareness. That then leads into the I Live Fearlessly piece, in that the Fearless Project is a network of clients and health professionals, kind of like what you are doing with your group as well, Erin, which we've just connected on in such a beautiful way. Mm-hmm. We want to provide the people in our communities with people that are going to help them on whatever life journey that they're on within a health and wellness field. So getting them connected with a breath therapist to work on childhood trauma and childhood wounds, that's a whole other conversation. But if people need that, I want them to use the Fearless Network to realize that they can live fearlessly by connecting with these individuals. Nice. So that's kind of like a growing concept, the network itself, and something that I cannot wait for when the world is a little bit easier to handle, maybe sometime in 2021, at least by the summer, to hold retreats with all the fearless people together and to have every aspect. So physical, it's going to be me. I'm going to whoop everybody's ass. Mindful aspects. I can't wait to get my good friend and breathwork therapist, Jennifer Mansell, into a retreat. She already does them. I mean, she's amazing. I can't wait for all of my people to know exactly who she is. And like doing fun shit together out in nature, because that's where it all started. It sounded very woke, but yeah.
I love that. There's so much to what you just said. And even just as an example, I think both of us, a lot in there. We have like a very similar goal for the world. And I think that is beautiful. And I think we need to collaborate more on those, because every conversation that I'm having includes some sort of vision like this lately. And it's beautiful. And I feel like more and more people are starting to realize the importance of, more of a holistic approach. And I so love that. And I so love that you're doing what you're doing right now, and including, personal training with breath work and outside and retreating and everything else. And that is just gorgeous. I love it. Everything is incredible right now. And, amongst all of the other things that aren't incredible.
Yeah. I mean, there'll always be shit in the world, but I mean, we're all in our own awesome bubble. I mean, nothing can bring us down. We're just in this aware place where the fear of everything else we don't give a shit.
Wouldn't it be great?
That was the first time I swore, I think. Yeah,
that's totally okay. I think we're good. This content is not made for people under 12. So I love that. Frances, is there anything else that you want to bring up before, anybody has any questions, or something that's like really pressing on your mind right now?
On my mind, we talked about Fearless Project. We talked about what's happening. We don't want to talk about the election. I do see in the chat, Alex just said, Fran, can we chat about pro esports?
Pro esports.
I bet you that could have been Will. So Alex and Will are clients of mine, and I bet you they're on the same incoming chat. And that was probably Will. Yes, we can. I bet you there's a lot of anxiety that goes on in that.
There's probably a lot. I don't even know what that is. Is that a thing that I need to know? What is that? Is that like online gaming? I have no idea.
Hi, Alex. slash that could also be Will. For those that are listening to this afterwards, sorry that it sounds like an inside joke, but it is very funny in this moment. I love it.
Yeah, and I'm kind of out of it too, so I have no idea. Okay.
All right. I think let's open it up to questions and about pro esports. Does anybody have any questions for anything that we talked about? It can be fear. You don't need it.
I'm going to mark
Thanks,
that as
Alex.
answered. Good engagement, audience.
I love it. Fear. I still feel like I want to kind of come back to this too, of what it is, why we have it, that we need it. It's going to be wired in us even when we, have moved past traumas, and we'll always have traumas. They'll come up at different times in our life, and some will be larger, some will be smaller. We need it to keep us alive. However, it doesn't have to own us. It doesn't have to feel like it owns our thoughts, because our thoughts really aren't anything anyways. It's just what our brains come up with. And then language, subsequently what our thoughts turn into. But one thing that really started to kind of change my journal prompts as to where I'm at with Fearless Project, my own fearless journey, is that I wrote a journal, and a reason why I wanted to do some nutrition coaching a little while ago, back in 2019, was I wanted to run my life. And I put that in air quotes if people see that with me on the camera. In that I have been an entrepreneur ever since I exited university. I've always been self-employed. So I always have the ability to change my schedule. I can do whatever, and literally humans can do whatever they want. They're never locked into any said thing. However, though, I felt like I wasn't running my life. And I realized I wasn't aware of my fears and aware of things that now past I've started to uncover, dealing with childhood wounds, because I've mentioned that a little bit. That's something that I'm going down right now. But fear doesn't have to run our thoughts, and it doesn't have to run our life. And I think that is something that right now in 2020 is definitely something that people have woken up to. And we all don't know what to do, because we're living in with this uncertainty that is always shifting. We start to feel a little better, and then it's right back down. And we start to feel a little better, it's right back down. So wrapping up on that little rant, fear doesn't have to run our lives. And that's what I'm trying to spread.
Thank you so much for that, Frances. It's really good to see someone who is transparent in their process. And I think that's really what we need. We don't want to come, we're no longer okay with sweeping it under the rug. I think it's better now to share and, share as much as you feel comfortable. But I think it's really something that people are looking for. They need a role model almost to mirror or to echo. So I really appreciate what you just said. And thank you so much for coming on here. If there's no other questions about pro esports or anything else, we can wrap up. But otherwise, honestly, I love the message that the Fearless Project is sharing. And I'm so happy that you can be that point of contact for folks when they come, especially in a space. And just as a self-identified woman, speaking from that experience in a space where not a lot of women are traditionally feeling so welcome, and that can be hard in itself, to lace up your sneakers and just go to a gym. So I really appreciate all of the work that you're doing. And I'm sure there's so many more amazing things to come after, like you said, 2021 hopefully brings us some better times, and we're finding ways to really live and grow and be enough and be strong and to live fearlessly. So thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Well, thank you for having me on. It was a pleasure. And it's just the beginning.
It's just the beginning. I love the collaboration.
Yeah.
Folks, thank you so much for showing up live. And for those watching, thank you for getting all the way to here. I really appreciate it. And you can
Thank
always...
you for sticking in for a whole hour of us ranting.
I love it. I love it. Stay tuned for my own business rebrand. And every Wednesday at 6 p.m., you can check out my Instagram Linktree. I do provide a registration link for each webinar that we do live. And I would love to see your faces again. So thank you for showing up today. Blessings.
Awesome.